Men will blame women for choosing bad men. It's your fault. You should choose quality men. You should have some standards. So when you hear a woman say, for example, she's a single mom, men will tell you it's because you didn't choose good quality men. Men will tell you it's your fault for choosing crap men. But then, if you dare to have some standards, you're delusional. Hey lovies, welcome to my channel. My name is Shan. If this is your first time here, I do appreciate you. Go ahead, watch some old videos, get to know me better. And if you have been here before, I am eternally grateful for your support. Do not forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. What else? What did I miss? The whole works by now. You know what to do. In this video, I will be doing my makeup. Yes. Disclaimer, I am not a makeup artist. I'm not a professional makeup artist. I am not a MUA, okay? So don't be telling me that's not what I saw this person do or that's not what you did. Fine, I'm showing you how I do it. And I have had people ask me before about my makeup looks. So I'm just going to do one of my standard looks today while I talk about what it's like dating in my 30s. So if you are in your 30s, currently dating, looking to start dating, or even in your 20s and you're a bit more mature, so there are things that you are learning, things that you have learned, stay tuned. You might learn a thing or two, or you might be able to understand why dating looks different in your 30s than it does in your 20s or even in your teens. Stay tuned and see what I do. Funny enough, I did film a makeup video before and then I skipped a couple of steps. Yeah. Hats off to the girlies who are able to be consistent and film everything. So I'm hoping that I don't skip anything significant. Let's get into the video. If you see me looking down, it's because the mirror is right here that I'm using. Let's get into the brows. For me, dating in my 20s was a lot different. Now, I've seen people say that as a woman, it's harder to date in your 30s. Pretty much the whole idea, we're getting older. India Ari said, you cannot be happy and you cannot be whole until you see the beauty of growing old. That's something that I have adapted. I never forgot it. So even when I go, oh my God, I can't believe I'm gonna be this age, I remember what she said. Usually people talk about aging and there is always something negative attached to it. And so I've also seen women who, when they get to like 27, 28, they focus a whole lot on getting with somebody because it's almost like, oh my God, I cannot be 30 and unmarried and 30 without children. And I get it. If I'm gonna be real, I will say, if that is your desire to be married and have children, it does get to a point where your biological clock is ticking. I get it. Oh, by the way, I'm just using some Gots to be glued. That's what it's called. Yes, Gots to be glued. On my eyebrows, I find that it helps to keep it in shape. I don't use a lot of force because I don't want it to be greasy. But yeah, I just use a form. So yeah, I found that we get to that point and suddenly we will marry a dog in a suit because we just want to be married and we don't take the time out to ensure that this is what we really want. As a matter of fact, for many, you don't even know what you want, because if I'm going to be real, when I was in my 20s, like a certain age, I didn't know what I wanted. I even got married. I got married and did not know what I wanted. As a matter of fact, I was thinking of doing a video on that, like what were my expectations getting married and what I should have known, what I should have asked. If you want to see me do a video like that, comment down below, let me know. I'll film that one. But yeah, in our 20s, oftentimes we don't even know what we want. And so that thing that says, oh, it's going to be harder to date in your 20s, in your 30s, or in your 40s, it is true to some extent, but let me tell you, there is a blessing in it. There is. The things that I'm intentional about now in my 30s weren't things that I cared about in my 20s. At this age, I can think of things that really matter. When I was in my 20s, my idea of a mate was a lot physical. If you ask me what kind of man was ideal for me, I would probably describe physical features, what I wanted him to look like, more than how I wanted him to treat me, more than certain spiritual, emotional, mental things that I required in a mate. I've also learned a lot from dating. I've always been known to date men who are more mature than I am. Mature meaning experiences. I love a man with some experience because I'm always looking, and again, that's not for everyone. I'm always looking to learn new things, and that's one of my requirements in a mate. Of course, I have things I can teach. I want to know something more than just video games, right? You teaching me how to play whatever the games are. I don't know. That's another thing. I am really bothered by men who spend their spare time playing games. I just feel like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you having an activity that clears your head or whatever, but it might just be me. But a man who has some time to spend by himself, whatever, and you want to go play video games, I don't know, it's giving son for me. That's me. If your partner does that, no shade. These are things that I don't usually find in mature men. These are things that I don't have to explain why my ideal partner cannot be sitting around playing video games. As I got older, as I learned more about life, as I learned more about myself, I realized that there were more things that were more important to me. And I've spoken of it before, how important it is to date. And I have found that even the quality of men that I attract at this age, completely different. When I've heard women say they cannot attract or they cannot find a certain caliber of men, I'm a bit confused. To fill in my brows and start off camera because baby, that needed focus. As I was saying, I learned over time that the kind of men that we attract as women, it's really because of who we are. The men that I meet now, based on where I am now, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, are completely different from the strugglers that I would meet when I was younger. And not to say I only attracted stragglers. I did meet amazing men, great men, but the quality of relationship that I'm able to offer now, that I'm able to give, is so much different from what I could offer at 22, 23, even 25 years old. And so when women say, this is all I attract, like you'll see even in the comment section, and they're like, oh, where do you meet men like these? They're out there. They're out there. You can meet them multiple places. However, it depends on who you are. When I think of getting with a man now, there are certain requirements that I have, and I'm allowed to have these requirements based on who I am now. I have always been a good person. I have always treated a man well. So with that, I could require some things in a mate, but now I feel like I'm so much better. I'm so much more evolved. I have become such a better person emotionally, mentally, even physically, that I feel like now I can demand of men what I want. And it's so easy for me to say no. It's so easy for me to say, okay, this is not for me. When I was in my 20s, if I had a list of 10 things and those were met, I wouldn't care about anything else. Now, at this age, I'm able to look at the wider picture. Like, for example, I had some requirements physically. No, I'm not saying to you that you should ignore what you're attracted to. There are still some underlying things that I will not compromise on. However, at this age, I don't care what race the person is. I don't care what ethnic background they're from. I don't care about their culture, none of that. As long as it's not a case where it's religious differences, where, I'm a Christian, I wouldn't date a Muslim. As long as it's not something like that, I don't care. Recently, I was watching a video on TikTok, and this lady was saying that a friend of hers was saying that she's trying to find her partner. And she said it was a dating app. So she said, oh, this guy looks nice. And the friend said, well, he looks nice, but the man for me has to have hair. Sis was simply saying that my man has to have some hair. First off, I'm thinking, what? Are you trying to practice hairdos on him? But hey, that's her thing. Those are the things that in my 30s, they don't matter. I don't care if a man is bald. Who are you as a person? How do you treat people? How do you treat your family? What do you do in life? How do you view relationships? What is it that you're looking for in relationships? What kind of dynamic do you want? These are things that matter to me. Right now, I can tell you right off the bat, there are some things that I don't even want to discuss any further. I when I hear things like 50-50, or when I'm dating and I go out with a guy, or even before we go out, we have conversations, and I hear him say, disclaimer, a lot of the persons that I meet, I opt to do online dating. Why? Because I can pick, choose, refuse. I can have actual conversations with people. A lot of times when I meet people in public, I'm busy. I'm going about my daily life. I do not want to be bothered by anyone. I do not want to be annoyed at the gym. I definitely don't want to be annoyed at church. And if I go to the grocery store, I'm there to get groceries. I'm not there to shop for men. Then, of course, if you know, you would know that I suffer from social anxiety. So a random person walking up to me, especially in these days, in this age, where it's so crazy, a guy comes up to me and immediately I'm like, what do you want? Are you trying to kidnap me? Who are you here with? What are you trying to do to me? Where do I escape? That kind of thing. So it's hard for me to meet. And then I don't go out to the places that people expect single people to be. I just don't. If I go out on a date by myself, I'm going out to date myself. I was just explaining that most of the people that I meet online. That allows me to meet specifically who I want to meet. So I have the option of putting in the particular age group of men, and I can narrow it down from their distance, whatever. But in conversation, if I find that a man says, I'm looking for an independent woman, usually what that means is I want a woman who doesn't want anything financially from me. To me, that's just weird because men will spend money on things that they like. Do you have a man who has a car that he likes? He has whatever it is that he likes, a man cave, whatever. Do you see how he spends money on it? If you, from the jump, you don't want to spend money on a woman, maybe you don't like women. And if we're together and you don't feel like you should contribute to my life financially in any way, you don't even like me. That's it. I do not hesitate at this age to say no. I'm going to apply my moisturizer and my primer. I'm just using CeraVe. It's really light. Always ensure that you put moisturizer on. Now I'm going to use my primer. I use the Sasha mattifying primer, especially because I have combination skin, and there are some places that, no matter what I do, they are gonna be oily. It is what it is, right? Could be worse. And I'm gonna go in with my eyeshadow. I'll be using the Beauty Stop by Pageant Boss. Like, I'm at that point where I am happy alone, and I cannot stress enough how important it is to be happy by yourself. Because when you can be content alone, it makes it so easy for you to tell what just simply isn't for you. When something isn't working, when you see all the red flags, it's so easy for you to just tap out. And so when I am dating personally now at this age, I don't feel the guilt like I would have felt in my 20s. I would feel like I am the chiefest of sinners if I went out with more than one person at a time. I would worry about how I would be judged, what people would think, and how I would be perceived as a woman. I felt like dating was something completely different. It wasn't until I got older, I got mature enough to realize that dating isn't sex. Dating isn't trying this man out in the bedroom to see if it works for you. Dating is literally putting the time into getting to know people, being intentional about the conversations that you have to try to know if this person is good enough to be in a relationship with. Dating is actually a step before a relationship. It took me a while to learn that. And so I'm grateful that I learned that. So now in my 30s, I am okay with dating multiple men. I am okay with going out with this person and that person and getting to know them. I am okay with telling men straight up what I require in a relationship. Back then, I'd probably be a little bit hesitant because, oh, what if I said this to him and he would not be interested? No, I'm good with it because, like I said, I have found peace in being alone. I am happy to be by myself. Now, would it be nice to share your life with someone? Absolutely. I won't sit here and tell you no. But then you would realize that it's more important to have quality over just having someone. As I got older, I learned what qualities were important to have in a mate. So as I got closer to my 30s, I started to realize the qualities that were actually important in the person that I wanted to be with. So I started to know, like, how does this person treat his family? If his mom is alive, how he treated her, what was a relationship like growing up. I tend to stay away from men who grew up struggling in the sense that they knew their moms to struggle. And I tell you why. While there's always an exception to the rule, almost in every case where a man is used to his mother struggling, where a man grows up seeing his mom work two, three jobs to put food on the table, to make them able to have a place to sleep, in almost all of these cases, these men normalize struggle. You'll hear things like,
Well, my mom did. My mom sent four of us to school. She worked three jobs and she kept food on the table and the bills were paid.
in a lot of these cases, men don't look at it as, okay, my mom struggled, so my wife doesn't have to. He sees it as, my mom is superwoman, she made it happen, so you're gonna have to struggle too. I ask men, how did your mom raise you? What was home like? Where was your dad? If dad wasn't home, what was happening? Was he supporting? And also, sometimes I like to go deeper and ask, your mom struggled so you could go to school, but what do you think about that? In again, almost all the time, if a man thinks it was okay that his mother struggled and he glorifies that struggle, you know what to do. Those were qualities that never made it to my 20s list. My 20s was more, ooh, how does he make me feel when we're out together? Do I have fun with him? Can he make me laugh? Stupid things like that, which aren't really stupid, they're important. But as you get older, you realize that there are things that are more important that should be higher on the list than just, can he make me smile? Do you know how many women are stuck right now in relationships with men because he made them smile when they were going through a hard time? I have been in a relationship like that where that's what he was. I was going through a tough time and he made me smile. Imagine starting an entire relationship with a person because they made you smile. Yeah, that's not good enough. If love isn't good enough to build a relationship on, come on, a smile or a couple of smiles. I learned that. I also learned to not care what people think. We hear how vain we are. When we have expectations of men, we are so vain. How dare you have some standards? I found it so funny. I posted that recently on my Instagram where men will blame women for choosing bad men. It's your fault. You should choose quality men. You should have some standards. So when you hear a woman say, like, for example, she's a single mom, whatever, men will tell you it's because you didn't choose good quality men. Men will tell you it's your fault for choosing crap men. They're not gonna say it's because the man is crap, it's because you didn't choose well. But then, if you dare to have some standards, If you dare to say I have some standards, you're delusional. I don't care what people think about my expectations. So, this idea that if you're not prepared to struggle with a person, then it isn't real and it's not going to work. The results have shown that there are no guarantees with that either. I was saying it to a friend of mine that I'm not prepared to build with anyone. Hear me out. When I was in my 20s, I had time to build. Okay? I could have been with a person at 25, 26, 27, whatever, if it's a young relationship, and I could have decided to build with a person. Imagine being 35. I'm not 35, but imagine being 35 and the partner that you're looking for now, as a woman, you're looking for someone to build with. Now, it works out for the men. Because if a man is 45 and he meets a woman who's 25 and she's willing to build with him, he's good because he got to live his life and now you're willing to build with him. In my 30s, I am sorry, I'm not trying to build because when am I going to be done building? When is this building going to go up so I can move on to have my children? I can move on to live my life. What am I going to be doing? Building until I'm 45? And then when I'm done building, I'm going to go have kids? Come on, be real. Be for real, for real. No. In my 30s, I am not building with anyone. Am I saying that I don't intend to contribute anything to a relationship? No. Am I saying that I am not willing to spend anything towards a relationship or pour into my man? No. But as for 30s, taking up a man and saying, well, you got nothing going on for you. Let's go build this. Not gonna happen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If that's something that you're willing to do, fine. Don't judge me for my decisions and I won't judge you for yours. This is the foundation that I usually use. Beauty Stop by Pageant Boss. I use the shade PB9. What started to happen was that I was staying out of the sun more and then my skin started to lighten up. And so it started to look a bit dark for me. I went ahead and I got the Maybelline Super Stay. Now, let me tell you, the first formula was the formula. I don't know what it was. I'm assuming maybe it was doing something negatively to the skin. That's the only reason why I could see why they would decide to change the formula. This one is, they said it's up to 30 hours. I'm not impressed, if I'm going to be fair. It does dry down quickly. It is pretty matte. Those are the plus sides. It's not at all full coverage. If anything, it gives medium coverage. That's it. So it's not full coverage. I find that it's also more watery than the first formula. The consistency, I almost thought that something was wrong with it. I almost returned it until I looked it up and I realized that they changed that, I guess, to make it feel lighter on the skin, but I'm not impressed. When I apply it, I'm like, what is this? Because the first formula, if you've used Superstay before, you know that the first formula was it, baby. Was it? I don't know. So what I decided to do is to put both of these together because this is mattifying, it is watery, and this is a more thicker consistency. So I just went a shade lighter with this one so it would complement this. This is coconut. I think my real shade, this is 355. I think my actual shade would be 356 probably. Yeah, I got it lighter for that reason. Another thing too, especially that we're speaking on the expectations, I've found that ever so often women are judged for saying that they want men who, oh, wrong one, code red, alert, alert, wrong one. It's the other one that I should have put on first because this is what I use most of. I found that women are often judged because they have expectations that they would like to be met. First of all, I learned in my 30s that if you're going to be in a relationship that you don't have any expectations for, you are wasting your time. Might as well be alone. Come on, think about it. It's just that there are some things that we're judged more for. But why would you want to give up, especially if you're happy and you're peaceful and you enjoy your own company? Why would you give that up to go be with someone that you have zero expectations of? Come on. I saw a girl say before that When you expect nothing, you get less than nothing. And it's true. If I'm going to be with you, if I'm going to spend my life with you, if my decisions are going to include you, so suddenly I move from I'm going out, I just get up and go about my business, to hey babe, I'm going out, what do you think? And I have to give you a say in my life without expectations? No. So in my 30s, I learned that it is perfectly okay to have expectations, and what those look like completely depend on you. It's not up to anybody else to tell you what you should expect in a partner. You are the person who's going to be with them. The way I see it, I have my expectations because I'm the only person who knows what's good for me based on whatever it is. There are women who say, I want a man who's financially stable, and they are judged for wanting a man who's financially secure. How? I hear that a lot. Food for thought. When a woman says, I like men who are tall, do you hear tall men judging them because they want tall men? Do you hear women who have tall men judging them for wanting tall men? When a woman says, I want a man who is financially secure, do you hear men who are financially secure complaining that they're this and they're that for wanting men who are financially secure? And again, do you hear women who are with men, married to men, dating men who are financially secure complaining? Think about that for a bit. Why is it that it's either the women who don't have that want to judge you for what you do want? Why is it that the women who made their decisions and they're comfortable with their decisions, they have something to say about your choices because your choices don't look like their choices? I've said it before. Why, especially women can be so brutal. Why are women so judgmental of other women because they make different choices than they do? If a woman says, I want a man who's financially secure because even if I'm working, even if I have a career, I want to know that my man has my back. I want to know if that I got to hold him up, I can, but it shouldn't be my job. And that's the thing for me. In my 30s, I learned that it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter how much money I'm making. I want a man who's financially secure because I also learned that there is a peace that comes with a man knowing that he's able to provide. Not saying that men who can provide and men who have money or financially secure are always good people. What I'm saying is, as men, innately they know that they should be providers. Innately, in the back of their head somewhere, they know I should be able to provide for my family, to provide for my woman. When they're not able to do that, have you ever been with an insecure man who has no money? If you have, comment down below and let me know how it went. Society tries to manipulate wealth. They try to manipulate the idea of wanting money. So you'll hear things like, I know people who have money and they're unhappy.
But I know people who don't have money and they're still unhappy.
Doesn't mean I won't want money. I know a man who has money and he treats his woman like crap and he cheats. And I know men who don't have money and they still treat women like crap and they still cheat. So make it make sense. There's always someone to tell you about a person with money who's done that. If a woman says her man is well off, or if you hear that a woman is living a particular way, you'll see in the comments, you'll see people commenting, oh, with all that money, I bet he's cheating. So what's the excuse for the broke man? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it has to be what you require, but if you require a man who's financially secure and comfortable in his own right as a man, baby, go off. Do what's good for you, because I, for one, that's one of my requirements. And now dating in my 30s, ain't nobody can make me feel bad for that. Nobody. Okay? Because I'll be doing a photo shoot, I'm gonna build this up a bit. I'm gonna add another layer. Usually one is good, but I'm going in with a little bit more. Notice the people who try to judge you for your decisions. It's people who don't have what you have or don't have what you want, but it doesn't mean they don't want it. So now when I hear people say things like, oh, you're so vain, oh, I'm vain because I would rather not struggle with a man. Come on, let's exchange stories here. I'm sure you know a story of a man who was financially stable, who left his woman and went to another woman. I'm sure you know of one or two or three or four because I know a couple. But do you also know a story of a man who was not financially able to do anything, who was not able to provide for his children, who was not able to hold his own in the home, but he still left her high and dry to go be with whoever he wanted to be with? It can work both ways. It doesn't mean that I'm wrong for wanting what I want, and it doesn't mean that you're wrong for wanting what you want. You make your decision and you stick to it. I learned that in my 30s. Because I have grown into myself, I know that I have evolved so much. I know that I have so much to offer to a man. I can now demand a certain quality mate that maybe my 20s I would feel hesitant to think like, oh, I don't know enough, or I haven't learned enough, or what am I going to offer to this man? Now, the thought that a man can ask a woman, what do you bring to the table? Is just crazy to me. Because here's the thing, I can say that because I have spent time to work on myself. If you know me, you know I'm forever evolving, I'm forever becoming. So because I took the time to work on me to be a better person, I stopped and I looked at things that I would do before. I look at the way that I treated men in any way, and I always try to improve on myself to be better. When I pray, I literally ask God to help me to be a better mother, to help me to be a better daughter, a better friend, a better wife, even though I'm unmarried. I ask God to build me up to become the woman that He sees me as, to become the best version of myself. So I'm forever changing, I'm forever growing, I'm forever a student to life, and always ready to be a student in a relationship to learn and to be better. So now I can have these expectations and not feel bad for it. Now I'm going to go in with my concealer. I have this one from, well, both from Beauty Stop by Pageant Boss. This one is Tan Skin, which is a bit lighter, and this is Cocoa Skin. Now this is my shade. I put this one on my inner corners to make it just a little bit lighter, to make it pop. So I'm going to go in with the darker one first. When I was younger, I will say I was more selfish. My idea on relationship was a lot different then than it is now, and it's important to grow. It's important to see yourself, to see who you are, and to know what you need to improve on. And so now I know that based on what I'm willing and able and available to give, I expect something in return. And like I said before, if you're going to be in a relationship and be like, oh, go in a relationship and be a giver and not ready to receive, no. You're going in there because this is what you expect in exchange. I was having this conversation with a colleague of mine, and she was saying to me that her and her husband was having a conversation, and they said they don't believe in unconditional love. And I said I agreed. And she said to me, the reason that she doesn't believe, or her and her husband don't believe in unconditional love, it's because I am loving you because of this, meaning there are expectations. I'm not going to be loving you still if you are beating me. I'm not going to be loving you if you are treating me like garbage, if you're cheating and doing everything that you're not supposed to be doing to a partner. I'm not going to love you through that. And when she said that, it made so much sense, because this unconditional love crap that we probably should have had or would have had in our 20s, as I got older, I realized that's all it was. It was garbage. That's what God is for. God is there to love you unconditionally, not me. If there are certain expectations that are not being met, especially some that are deal breakers, like for me, it's cheating. If you are cheating, then you're clearly telling me I don't need your love. I need love from someone else. Go get it from someone else. So this brush is also from Beauty Stop by Pageant Boss. If you are disrespecting me consistently, and I say consistently because I would not break up with a person because they said something disrespectful. I would, however, if disrespect is your MO, so it's normal for you to call me things outside of my name, It's normal for you to do things that you know will make me feel disrespected, stuff like that. If that becomes a thing that I realize it's a pattern, then I'm no longer interested. If you feel the need to raise your hand and put it on me, you do not need my love. You want me dead. You want me dead. And so I don't want to be with you. Why do I want to be with someone that I expect nothing from? You nothing? You ask nothing, again, you get nothing. Now at this age, I know that I'm bold enough to ask because, one, I would have learned enough about myself to know what I require in a man. So notice how I said I know what I needed to change. Well, I also learned more and more what I'm looking for, what I expect in return for my love, for my affection, for my time, for my energy. If I'm going to be pouring into you, this is what I expect of you. And so now I am not hesitant at all. Before, when I was younger, I would probably think, oh, if I tell him this, it will chase him away. Now I tell men, I stand on business when I say, hey, this is what I expect. And there are so many people in the world. I don't even know how many men are there that would be in the age group that I want to date. But whatever that is, I'm sure it's not 5 or 10, 20 or 50. And so if what I'm looking for in a relationship, if what I'm asking for, one guy says no, I'm old enough and mature enough to know, okay, one man's I'm not doing this for her because she's asking for too much, is another man, oh my God, that's it. And I've experienced that. I've experienced men saying, you are bold for asking for this, how dare you? And I've met other men who said things like, wait, that's it? That's all you're asking for? That's all? That nothing else? So it's up to you to decide, do I jump into the second relationship because the first guy said I was being crazy asking for that? Or do I find contentment in knowing that in the dating process, this is where I weed them out? I try to get my requirements out early, as early as possible. And I'm not saying to men, hey, I need this and need that, or that's not gonna work. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm ensuring that in understanding each other, that we also understand what the other person is looking for. And I'm not saying that I say to a man, I'm looking for a guy who brings me flowers every evening, whatever, because you know that can be pretty much giving him the blueprint on how to treat you to get you. For example, if you're dating to have children, you might want to say that early. You don't wait until you get to know each other or until it feels like a relationship. Then you're going to be like, oh, I wanted kids. No, you say that, hey, my intention for dating is to marry, if that is something that you want. My intention for being with someone is because I want to raise a family of my own. So once you get that out the way, if he's not on board with that, hopefully that's a reason for him to say, nah, I don't want kids. No, I don't want to get married. I just want to have fun. But the truth is that you will know. You will know what you're getting into and you know how to move forward. This is Black Radiance Foundation Stick. What I find is when you hold off on asking for what you want, men tend to get one of two things depending on the man. One, you don't stand on business. If you're afraid to ask for what you want, then come on. They come across women like me who will tell them straight up, no, that's not gonna work. I'm not gonna accept that. That's not fine for me. And then they'll meet a woman who says, okay, it's fine, I'll work with it. A lot of times they knew off the bat that they're not going to spend their lives with you for the simple fact that you don't have certain standards. A friend of mine said to me once that what women need to understand is there is no guarantee for a man to be with a certain woman when he's broke. There is no guarantee he's going to stay. And he said this, you often find that as soon as he starts to make some money, he goes to a certain kind of woman, because the kind of woman who will say, I need a man to be able to provide, a lot of times these are soft, feminine women. That's what they want. They want soft, they want feminine. A lot of times in reverse, the woman who will say, oh, it's fine, I will pick up the tab, I will pay the bills, I will this, you can move into my house. A lot of times that woman is actually quite masculine. And so when they start making their money, that is the men, they don't want that kind of masculine energy. They want the kind of woman who will say, honey, here's your dinner. Here you go, baby. Would you like for me to rub your feet? The woman who's having to pay the bills and take care of the kids and go get her own gas and whatever, she doesn't get the opportunity to be feminine. When you see them leave and people are like, you're so ungrateful. No, he's going to what he's naturally attracted to. He wasn't naturally attracted to you before. He was looking for a place to stay. He was looking for someone to provide them with a meal. Bob Marley. That is a video all by itself. But Bob Marley, okay? I don't even know if I can say that. Next thing you know, I get hit with something because I shouldn't be speaking on it. I don't know. But Bob. Bob met Rita. He had nothing. He didn't have a place to sleep. He didn't have food to eat. And she provided that. And he was grateful. I'm sure he loved her for it. Not love her enough to want to be with her forever, though. Love her enough for the minute that he was able to do better. He wanted someone, and I'm pretty sure the woman who he was with, I assure you that he was being the man in those relationships. I assure you that he was doing what he was supposed to do. He was probably buying them stuff and making sure they feel secure, but Rita was there being the mom. And that's what happens with a lot of women. So I've learned to shut the noise out when I hear women say things like, that's not what it's all about. True. Because I will not date a man with money that I don't like. I will not date a man who's financially secure that treats me like garbage. No, but it does feel good, okay? When you see men in the comments with the battles, oh, you're such a gold digger, whatever. Those aren't the men that we need anyway. Think about it. A man who has the time in his day to be arguing with women on the internet about who they choose to be with and what they want from men, what they expect of men. Is that a man you even want to be with? Where do you find the time? Because if you were out being a provider, you would not have the time. And don't tell me it's after work. Because a provider after work, he's thinking on ways to rest, to get himself together, to reset so he can go out and be a provider tomorrow. So if you have all that time to be arguing with women on the internet, ladies, that ain't the man that you need anyway. And a woman who has the time to be arguing with women because they say they want a particular type of man, it's not a woman you want to be arguing with anyway. Where do you find the time? Where do you find the time? The things that we are worried about being judged for, we're worried about being judged by the wrong people. I'm using this contour palette from Beauty Stuff by Pageant Boss to set my my contour. I started to like really analyze, like, wait, the people who are judging me, how are they living? How are they doing? They're miserable. Sis, if your expectations of a man is on the floor, is in hell, you can't tell me nothing. And ladies, do not be afraid of the idea that you might be alone forever. That's okay. Sometimes, and I've said this before on my podcast, there are worse things in life than being single. I am not saying that it's not nice to be in a relationship and it doesn't feel good to have a person to know that this person is in my corner and this person is my person. I'm not saying that. But I am saying, I put this on wrong. Hold on, let me fix it. Here talking to you guys and messing up my makeup. I felt like I needed to prove to people that I can do this. I needed to prove to people that I can be a good person. No, I don't care. If you think I'm a horrible person, that's good for both of us. Because if you think I'm horrible, then you will stay away from me, and that will be good for you and it will be good for me. So I'm good with knowing, oh, by the way, this is the Sasha Buttercup setting powder. I started using this years ago. And I'm one of those people that if it works for me, I'll stick to it, especially with makeup. If I find that it works for me, it works for me. And I'm not trying to fix what isn't broken. I'm not in the business anymore of proving to anyone that I am anything. If you are interested to get to know me, then you will get to know all parts of me. And that's the thing. I don't care to prove to men anymore that, hey, look, I'm good at cooking. I'm good at being, I don't have nothing to prove, because one thing I realized, and I learned that over time, if you haven't learned it, then you will. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you offer. Because you'll see men treat women like queens. You'll see men meet women and they will treat them good just because they want to. Instead of these women having to prove, like I said, like you are the best. You are the best at everything. I saw something before and said you can wash his feet, whatever, cook his food in diamond oil, go on your head top to satisfy him. But if that man is gonna cheat, he's gonna cheat. If that man is gonna treat you bad, he's gonna treat you bad. I was watching something recently where this lady said that when she met her husband, she told him that he asked her, what do you want? And she told him, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, I want to have a house, I want to own a house, she wants a kid, etc., etc. One might say what the reason was, or try to, because of course the bitter betties, especially who's never had that kind of security, will try to explain, because I saw them in the comments, oh, she ain't even all that. Truth is, she's a beautiful girl, but she's not like, oh my god, drop dead gorgeous. When he met her, I believe she was 37 and living with her parents. What he was looking for just happened to be who she is, and it worked. He said it. He said, she asked him, like, when I said, this is what I want and this is what I want, did that scare you? He said, no. He said, I was actually quite thrilled with the fact that you know what you want. Milani Cheek Kiss, it's a liquid blush. He said what he actually admired was the fact that when he asked her what it is that she wanted, she already knew. He was impressed by the fact that she knew. When he asked her, sis was ready with the answer. She's like, yep, this is what I want, this is what and he's like, okay. Because I've always said it, there are so many people who are happy in their relationships, but they won't share that happiness, they won't share that joy, because there are so many unhappy people who's just waiting to poke holes in their stories. They're just waiting to find something to prove that, oh, this can't be that. They just want to find these men to say, see, he's not faithful because I flirted and he flirted back. So there are a lot of people who have that kind of life. There are a lot of people who were adamant that this is what I want and this is what they got. And so this idea that if you tell men what you want as far as fully what you're expecting, that you will chase them off, it's true. There is some bearings to that. You can tell a man what you're looking for and you will chase him off. But that's good, right? Isn't that good? Shouldn't that be a good thing? This is also Beauty Stop by Pageant Boss. This is in the shade also PB9. Think about it. If asking a man for what you want, this is what you genuinely want, right? And this chases him away. How is that a bad thing? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. How is it bad to chase a man off because of the things that you genuinely want? Because if you don't chase him off, you're going to end up with this man and you're going to end up unhappy because the things that you want, they were not communicated, and then chances are he's not willing or able to offer these things, and now you're unhappy. Who wants to be unhappy intentionally? I don't know. I've never heard a person say, I choose to be intentionally unhappy. Never heard that. And if that's you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you feel that way. Not me. I've actually had men tell me straight up that me saying that I want a partner who doesn't cheat makes me delusional. Did you hear what I just said? Because one of my requirements is loyalty and I don't handle infidelity well, I'm delusional. You can cheat on me and I'm not gonna leave? Crazy. A person who loves you, a person who genuinely wants to love you and learn to love you, they don't want to see you suffer. You know that song? The description for love, I don't subscribe to it. Why would you want to see the person that you claim you love hurting and aching and crying and miserable and losing weight and not eating and not functioning and losing their hairlines? And why? That's not love. I also feel free to walk away from anything that doesn't look like it. I mean, outside of the fact that I trust God with my life right now and I depend on him for his guidance and I ask for discernment. So if it's not for me, then I trust that he will guide me into what is or guide me out of what isn't. That's what evolution does for you. It helps you to get to a place where I no longer care how you think, how you process things. I don't care what you settled with. I don't feel the need to have to live by society's standards of what constitutes a real relationship. This is also a mattifying spray. it is important to do what's good for you. You will realize that your decisions are your decisions to make. I learned that in my 30s, that my way of doing things might not be the way that other people do it. Doesn't mean my way is wrong. That's one thing that I cannot, it's not something that you can have without getting to that point, without evolution. You have to go through your own processes, see things for yourself, see what it looks like when you make your own decisions, see what it looks like when you learn about yourself, when you figure out. That right there is key. Learning yourself. Who are you as a person? What do you like? Ask yourself, whatever your name is, when you get to this part, ask yourself, Tanya, Shan, Monique, whatever your name is, ask yourself, what do you want? Then the next question is, what are you willing to offer? While it is important to know what you expect in a mate, you have to know what you're offering, so that likewise, if a man says, this is what I'm looking for in a partner, you'll know immediately that's not what I want. It helps to make the process so much easier. Things that I learned in my 30s, but it doesn't matter how old you are. I'm just trying to set this line right here, this laugh line. I just really think I laugh too much. Why? Why? Not because one man isn't willing to give that to you, to give you the life that you want, to give you the respect that you want, to love you the way you want to be loved. It doesn't mean that another man won't do it willingly without you even having to ask. That's something that I learned over time too, because I just felt like eventually I'm going to fix him. I'm going to do some work on him. I'm going to prove to him why I deserve this. Give it up. If a man didn't plan on loving you right, there's nothing that you can do to make that happen. And if he was going to love you right, there's nothing that you need to do to force his hand. But I'm going to use the fortune cookie today. Stop comparing yourself to the worst of people. Stop setting your mark based on the worst people that you can find. I'm about to go apply some got to be right here to hold it on. I'm not trying to keep it on my head. When you're dating, be sure to have like realistic expectations, yes, but be true to yourself. I think that is all I have to share on what it's like dating in your 30s. I filmed something similar back in October, I believe, and there was something happening with the audio. I'm just gonna hope right now that there's nothing wrong with this audio, because it was nice having you. Comment down below, let me know if you want to see more videos like this. If you'd be so kind to share this video and any others that you think your friends should see, your friends need to come watch, share the video. Comment down below, let me know if this is something that you want to see in another video, if you want to see me do my makeup again, if there's something else that you'd like to see me do, something that I can actually do. Thank you, please, I would appreciate it. Let me know if you like the look. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, and if you did, of course by now I hope you did, but if you didn't, give it a thumbs up. And I think that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.